Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett was born August 17, 1786 in Wisconsin, Tennessee. Most people today know him as Davy Crockett, but his lifetime was called Davy. The nickname came after his death. When Davy was 8, he told his father he wanted to hunt for supper. His family was poor and ate what they grew or hunted. His father told him they couldn't afford to waste rifle balls and young boys missed shots. Davy promised his father he would make every shot count. He used his father's Kentucky rifle, and each day he got one ball and enough powder for one shot. If he hit something, he'd have supper. If he missed, he'd go hungry. At the age of 11, his father hired Davy out to Jacob's Distillery to repay his debt. Davy's job was to help herd cattle to Virginia. Once he returned home, his family sent him to school. Davy didn't like school. He got in a fight with another boy. Davy was scared of what his punishment would be at home. So he ran away from home at the age of 12. He was gone for 3 years. He worked on farms in Virginia, Maryland, and Tennessee. At age 15, he came home. He didn't tell anyone he was returning. His older sister recognized him, and he became reunited with his family. He was hired out again by his father to repay another debt. By the age of 18, he was ready to make a life of his own, married. One day, he was lost in the woods. He saw a girl in the woods who was lost too. Her name was Polly Finley. They took shelter in a cabin. The next month, there were one day before David turned 20. David and Polly had 2 sons, John and William, and a daughter named Margaret. At the age of 27, he served under Andrew Jackson in the war against the Creek Indians. 2 years later, he found out Polly was sick with malaria. She died in 1815. Within a short time after her death, he was having trouble handling the farm and 3 children, so he needed to find a new wife. He met Elizabeth Patton, who was a widow with 2 children. They married later. That same year, they had 2 children together. In 1816, they moved to Shoal Creek, Tennessee. He built a mill and gunpowder factory in 1818. He decided to help out his neighbors and become a justice of the peace. His job was to settle arguments so that people wouldn't have to wait for a traveling judge to come to their town. In 1821, he decided to run for position in the Tennessee legislature. He won the election a year later after a flood destroyed his mill and factory. In 1824, he ran for Congress but lost, but tried again the next election. He traveled from town to town meeting people. He didn't talk about fixing voters' complaints. He talked about hunting and war adventures. In 1827, he won the election, and now, at the age of 41, he was heading to Washington, D.C. In 1834, he wrote a book about his life on the Tennessee frontier, and the book became very popular. Davy won trade votes. He made many enemies in 1835. He returned to Tennessee after losing his re-election. Hurt and angry after losing the election, he wanted to leave Tennessee and go to a new frontier, Texas. In 1835, Texas was not a part of the United States. It was claimed by Mexico. In November, he set off for Texas and liked what he saw. Texas had huge forests, good water, and rich land. Davy went to buy land from Texas, official named Sam Houston, but Mr. Houston wasn't in the land business. He was raising volunteers to face the Mexican army. Many Texas settlers asked for Davy's help because they had read his book about his life and admired his bravery. Davy agreed and got a group of Tennessee volunteers to follow him to San Antonio, Texas, where they marched to the Alamo. The Alamo was a walled fort that had once been a mission. They reached the Alamo on February 8, 1836. As the Mexican army marched closer, Davy wasn't worried. He had lost elections but never a fight. Santa Anna and his army bombarded the Alamo with cannons for 2 weeks. The defenders only had 189 men, but there were 1,800 Mexican soldiers. Every Alamo defender died that day, including Davy. The heroes of the Alamo did not die in vain. A few weeks later, Texas won its freedom and became a separate country, the Republic of Texas. Several years later, in 1845, Texas joined the United States as the 28th state. D as in died a hero, A as an adventurer, V is in volunteer mounted rifleman member. Y is in young hunter at age of 7. C is in congresswoman. R ran away from home at age 12. O, one basketball per day as a boy. C, coonskin cap, coonskin hat. K, king of the wild frontier. E, expert hunter. T, Tennessee native. T is Texas where I died. In 1836, Davy Crockett was born in Tennessee, 1786. He ran away from home for 3 years at the age of 13. 1806. He married Polly family they had 3 children. 1813, he served under Andrew Jackson in war against Creek Indians. 1815, Ollie died. He married Elizabeth Patton that had 2 children. 1818, he began to hear cases in justice of the peace. 1821, he was elected to Tennessee legislator. A flood destroyed his factory and mill. 1824, he ran for Congress and lost. 1827, he was elected to Congress. 1834, he published a book about his life. 1835, he lost his seat in Congress. He set off to find a new home in Texas. 1836, he decided to join the fight for Texas independence. He brought a group of Tennessee soldiers to the Alamo. He died fighting Mexican soldiers on March 6th. David started hunting at age 7. He was only given 1 ball and enough powder to shoot once per day. If he ate something, he'd have supper. If he missed, he'd go hungry.